To be eligible for this, folks, listen to this. To receive the maximum benefit, you have to earn Social Security's maximum taxable income for 35 years. The cap, which is the amount of earnings subject to Social Security tax, is $147,000 in 2022. If you filed a last-minute tax return, everybody, you may see your 2021 refund faster than you expect. According to the IRS, 9 out of 10 refunds have arrived within 21 days this season. The IRS has reported that as of April 15th, the agency has issued more than 78 million refunds worth over $242 billion in total, and the average refund is currently $3,100. However, there are several reasons why an e-filed return may be delayed. That's according to the IRS. So, your filing is going to have to need a manual review for missing information or identity theft issues. The commissioner said that we urge extra attention to those who received an economic impact payment or an advanced child tax credit last year. People should make sure they report the correct amount on their tax return to avoid delays. So the National Taxpayer Advocate Erin Collins stressed the agency's challenges with paper in her annual report to Congress. She called it the IRS kryptonite and pointed to a December backlog of 5 million pieces of taxpayer mail. Folks, as of April 15th, the agency received nearly 118 million electronic returns, which is roughly 96% of filings. That may change as more returns arrive before the October 17 extension deadline. Folks, if you believe that President Biden should approve more stimulus checks, tell me in the comments down below. We have a ton of good news about the fourth stimulus payment. Yes, it is official. People are finally receiving more relief funds. I know many of you are wondering how much more stimulus money you're gonna get this year. Well, the Biden administration has some answers. It's just been announced hundreds of thousands of people will start getting payments worth up to $600 in weeks. A new law signed by the Delaware governor will give Delaware taxpayers a check under the state's relief rebate program. The relief rebate aims to help Delaware offset the effects of inflation, particularly at the pump and the grocery store. The governor has told reporters every taxpayer I talk to expects us to manage the money in a way that's responsible. So the direct payments will go out to residents in the state that filed a Delaware resident personal income tax return in 2020. Individuals will get around $300, while married couples filing jointly will get around $600. You are not eligible to receive a relief rebate payment for a deceased family member, even if they filed a 2020 tax return. The one-time payments will be issued via mail to the most recent address on file. Around 600,000 residents in the state are expected to benefit from the cash boost. The state's Department of Finance is also working on a way for qualifying adult residents who did not file a tax return to receive the rebate. The state is also expected to start issuing the payments in weeks. Folks, tell me in the comments down below if you believe that your state should do the same and help out their citizens with stimulus payments. Now, considering these are being issued by mail, you need to take into account the delivery will likely take longer as opposed to direct deposit. For instance, those eligible under California's first and second round of Golden State stimulus programs, which will need to allow up to 3 weeks for delivery once issued. Here's more news, everybody, from the IRS. Given the complexity of tax seasons, most taxpayers should not be surprised or necessarily worried if they received an IRS adjustment letter.
Sorry, I think if you look at our, maybe the closest economies and political systems would be the countries of Western Europe and Canada. Advanced economy countries like that, they're all having the highest inflation they've had in a very long time. Places like Germany, which is famously, inflation averse.
So monthly stimulus payments may be automatically deposited for you. Lawmakers across the nation have officially set up new relief programs. The more stimulus money you can receive right now would greatly help so many people, so I believe President Biden should actually get the job done and send out stimulus checks as soon as possible. Now, the nearly $1 trillion in federal relief sent to U.S. households through 3 stimulus checks is credited with reducing poverty and helping millions of families weather the crisis. But with the crisis still affecting millions of people in the nation, many lawmakers are deciding to take action on this with their own form of stimulus payments. States are tapping into their own stimulus funds to help specific residents, like low-income households of teachers, or even teachers, with direct aid reaching more millions of people this year. According to recent census survey data, about 1 in 4 households across the country struggled to pay the household expenses in the previous week. So in an effort to help Americans from any future recessions, lawmakers in the Senate and the White House are now considering passing automatic checks for the next time the economy takes another significant dip. The Economic Security Project has officially held a discussion with 50 staff members from the Senate Finance Committee on automatic stabilizers. This would tie the issuance of expanded unemployment payments and stimulus checks to the state of the economy, therefore helping many people out. Plus, one economist told CNN putting in place these kinds of triggers would smooth out the recovery and no one is left at the mercy of Washington gridlock in future recessions. So she supports recurring stimulus check. Other lawmakers are considering universal basic income, which is a set of recurring payments that individuals get from the government. These can be paid out every month and several times a year or even just once annually. Democratic Representatives Rashida Tlaib and Pramila Jayapal have introduced legislation that would provide everyone in the country with $2,000 every single month. And that's $1,000 per month for a year. For instance, the ABC Act is going to finance the payments with an unconventional plan that would direct the Treasury Department to use its legal authority to mint as many as 1 trillion platinum coins as necessary to fund the legislation. Pramila Jayapal said people don't only need relief, they need stability, certainty, and predictability. And the ABC Act delivers them just that.
The gentlewoman from Pennsylvania, Ms. Dean, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairwoman Waters, and thank you, Chair Powell, for being before us again today with such forthright testimony in such challenging times. I wanted to just start on the question of inflation and something that you said to one of our colleagues in response. Inflation is too high. We're seeing it everywhere in the world. Ours is worse because our economy is stronger. Can you flesh out that duality a little bit, maybe by way of contrast with others globally who are struggling with inflation but do not have a strong underlying economy?
Sorry, I think if you look at our, maybe the closest economies and political systems would be the countries of Western Europe and Canada. Advanced economy countries like that, they're all having the highest inflation they've had in a very long time. Places like Germany, which is famously, inflation averse, has high inflation. Now, ours is a little higher. Our economy is now well above the level of output that we were at before the pandemic. If you just look at the output an economy had before the pandemic to where it is now, we're way above that, and other countries are kind of just getting back to that level. So we've just had a stronger recovery, and that is because of monetary policy and fiscal policy and also just vaccines and a whole range of factors. So our inflation is definitely, of the advanced economies, ours is higher generally. We're going through the same process that the Bank of England and other central banks are going through, which is raising rates and trying to get inflation back under control. Very committed to doing that. It's a common problem. Again, ours is worse because our inflation is higher, I think largely because our economy is that much stronger.
And I know you have a series.
1 million